My husband surprised me with a trip to the Redwoods, and we headed out on our way to go to the coast and get fish and chips is what our favorite thing to do is. But we opted to go through the Redwoods instead of going around and going up through Oregon and stuff. This is about 50 miles outside of Grants Pass, heading into the California area. We have crossed the border. We are already in California. You can see the terrain here doesn't look like the redwoods that you see. This is the Smith River down in that gulch, and it is the most beautiful blue and turquoise and green water down there. Every once in a while you'll catch a glimpse of it, but it's kind of hard to see from this side of the road. The trees in Oregon are in California are green and beautiful, and we do log our trees and we do replant our trees, and it's a sustainable thing that they do. They know how to take care of them. That's all been logged before. You can tell by how those trees are placed, and look how well they grew back. It's amazing. It's a neat journey to the ocean. Our redwood trees are one of the 3 species of redwood trees. I believe there's one in Japan. There's the sequoias down in California, and then there's the coastal redwoods. We have the coastal redwoods. They are tall. The sequoias are wide, so they're just a little bit different than each other. You can start to see a few of them interspersed into these little smaller trees, but they're too far from the ocean to grow the way they need to grow and have the things they need to have. You can, in Oregon, I'm not sure where else they would grow, but there are redwood trees here and there interspersed inland. And they just don't grow as quickly or as tall as the ones along the coastline. These are just amazing. This is a closer in, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 miles from the coast. You can see that we're still in the gorge and going through this cover of trees and the blue sky and the sunshine and the river down next to us. It's really an amazing drive. I highly recommend it to anybody who is coming out to Oregon to make this drive, either going to the coast or coming from the coast. It's just absolutely beautiful. There are lots of pullouts and turnouts where people go swimming, and you can go down and take pictures and stuff. It's like no other. I've been a lot of places in the United States, and I've seen a lot of rivers and I've seen a lot of areas, but most people have never seen the color blue that we have in this river. I really wish I could have caught a glimpse of it for you. It's just amazing. You can see it's a really windy road, and motorhomes and campers do make this trip. There's a lot of rock walls that are inches away from you if you are driving one of those bigger vehicles. We like to do this on our Harley because it's just, you're out there in the open air. And to be honest, I get car sick if I'm not on the bike. So the air in my face really helps me to be able to not get car sick. It's kind of weird. It's just beautiful. I love watching all of the bushes and the trees, and I feel so thankful that I live where I can just drive to the mountains and drive to the ocean and see all the creations that we have around us. It's about 100 miles from where we live to get to the ocean. You can go into Northern California, into Crescent City, or you can go into Oregon to Brookings and Harbor area. There's a lot of things to do. We like to go both directions. There's really neat restaurants. That's what we usually go for, is the food. This is the junction right here. If you go left, you go to California. If you go right, you go to Oregon. And in California, there's a neat boat harbor, and the people down there are just amazing. You can also go to the lighthouse, and you can only access it twice a day by foot. The tide has to be out, and you can walk over, and they do tours and stuff. If you go into Brookings, there's another harbor up there and some really great camping places. Right here, we're coming up on one of the best places in the Redwoods to go hiking. They have lots of manicured trails and paths and loops that you can go in, and you can see the big, huge redwoods and go through them. There's some more further down into California. If you go down into Eureka area, there's some big areas down there that you can go, and there's the Skylift and the Paul Bunyan stuff, and it's just really neat. But this is, in this section of the Redwoods, that's probably the best place to go hiking. As you can see, there's lots of people cruising through here on motorbikes and cars. The road gets more and more narrow as we get closer. And in the mornings, this area is usually a very dense fog. Actually, it's kind of a mist, because that is what the trees get their water from. There's not a lot of rain here. It's a lot of mist. It's amazing how different trees were made, that they adapt to the situation that they're in. This is the tight and winding area. Go slow, watch what you're doing, because not everybody is. These corners are tight, and there's usually traffic. You can see that tree right there has got a notch out of it, where through the several last years, it's either been trimmed or bumped by log trucks. It's fine, it's still growing. There are big trees, there are little trees. It's just absolutely beautiful. In these little turnouts, whenever there's a turnout on the side, there's usually a path or a trail going down into the redwoods for people to hike and see what's going on. But you just have to be careful, because there's lots of people walking around also. If you ever come to Oregon or Northern California, I highly recommend this journey right here. It is one of the most spectacular and beautiful places I've ever seen.